Key issue 1. Where are migrants distributed? Most migrants move to nearby regions, but when they don't, it's because of three main reasons: economic opportunity, cultural freedom, and environmental comfort. When people migrate, it's two of these ways, either voluntary or forced. Voluntary is moving in the same regions for one of the three reasons, and forced is deportation or wars causing refugees. People can migrate interregional, which is moving in the same region. An example given is rural to rural or urban to urban. And interregional migration is moving to a new region. An example given is rural to urban. The three largest flows of migration are Asia to Europe, Asia to North America, Latin America to North America. International migration is mostly a permanent move to a new country, and internal migration is mostly a permanent move also, but in the same country. 9% of the people in the world live in a different country than they were born in, which is an example of international migration.
There are two types of migration. The first one being interregional, migration from one region of a country to another. An example of this would be like moving from New York to California. The second would be intraregional, migration within the same region. An example for this would be moving from urban areas to the suburbs. People migrated in the past due to search for better farmland. Now people migrate because of economic factors like jobs. In 1790, all the colonial settlements resided near the Atlantic Ocean. The people living here depended on shipping links with Europe to receive and export products and raw material. Transportation began improving. The U.S. now also had 5,352 kilometers of canals. People also started moving between the Appalachian and the Mississippi River. The population began shifting towards the west due to the gold rush happening. People from Europe began to emigrate from the east and into the west. There were also a lot of agricultural advances, like barbed wire and windmills. The government also began giving loans to railroad companies so they could buy bigger land. People have begun to move southward for better jobs and the warmer weather.
Key issue 2. Where do people migrate within a country? Migration from rural to urban areas, migration from urban to suburban areas, migration from urban to rural areas. Migration from rural to urban areas started in Europe and North America in 1800s during the Industrial Revolution. 5% of the U.S. population lived in urban areas during 1800, 50% in 1970, and 80% in 2000. Suburban living offers a detached home with a private yard, garage, and/or driveway versus clustered homes/apartments. Cars and trains allow suburb residents to hold jobs in cities. Counter-urbanization happens when someone moves from an urban area to a suburban area to a rural area. People move to rural areas for lifestyle reasons like agriculture. Key issue 3. Why do people migrate? Push and pull factors, political, environmental, and economical factors.
European and Asian migrant workers.
Developing countries are starting to make the move too. For example, from 1950 to 2010, Latin America's population went from 40% living in urban areas to 80%. In Asia, they went from 50% to 45% of people living in urban areas. And in sub-Saharan Africa, they went from 10% to 40%. IDPs migrate for similar reasons as refugees, but don't cross international borders. Asylum seekers migrate in hopes to be recognized as refugees. Mountain ranges, seasides, and warm climates are all examples of environmental pull factors. For example, people migrate to Colorado for the Rocky Mountains or Florida to retire. People also get pushed away for environmental factors like water. Economic restructuring and job prospects vary from region to region, which cause people to migrate. Anglo-America is a primal destination for migrants. This was especially true in the 1900s when Europeans migrated to the U.S. for cities paved with gold.
Asia's migrant workers. Asia is both the major destination and major source for migrants in search of work. In China, approximately 40 million Chinese currently live in other countries, including 30 million in Southeast Asia, 5 million in North America, and 2 million in Europe. Asia's migrant workers. Asia is both a major source and a major destination for migrants in search of work. In China, approximately 40 million Chinese currently live in other countries other than China, including 30 million in Southeast Asia, 5 million in North America, and 2 million in Europe. Southwest Asia. Wealthy oil-producing countries of Southwest Asia have been major destinations for people from other countries in the region, such as Egypt and Yemen. Most immigrants arrived from South and Southeast Asia, including India, Pakistan, the Philippines, and Thailand during the late 20th century. Working conditions for immigrants have been considered poor in some of the countries. An environmental or political feature that hinders migration is an intervening obstacle. The principal obstacle traditionally faced by migrants to other countries was environmental, due to an expensive and long passage over ice, over land, or by sea. Today, the major obstacles faced by migrants are political, like passports or visas.
Key issue 4.
Why do migrants face obstacles? U.S. quota laws.
Characteristics of unauthorized immigrants. Mexico's border with the United States.
U.S. quota laws. The era of unrestricted immigration to the United States ended when Congress passed the Quota Act in 1921 and the National Origin Act in 1924. The laws established quotas or the maximum limits on the number of people who could immigrate to the United States during a one-year period. Diversity. A few immigrants are admitted into the U.S. by lottery under a diverse campaign.
More effective border patrol is needed because money is not wanted to be spent on building fences around the border. The deportation rate in 2010 was 390,000. Workplace. Immigrants take unwanted jobs, and programs to make immigrants legal are being put to action, and an example of a program would be DACA. Most long-distance immigrants are male, and most long-distance immigrants are adult individuals rather than families with small children.